What's up, guys? This is your Anime Degens back with the BS Hour, episode 19. First, we're going to do some not so good anime reviews. It should be pretty fun. Um, some things were hilariously bad that we saw. And then we're going to get into Who's Your Home Hero, which we will explain a little bit later. But first, Tyler, you want to get us into some news?
Yeah, so hopefully y'all haven't forgotten, but Black Clover's new movie, The Sword of the Wizard King, is gonna be out on June 16th, which is 4 days from today. And it's gonna be on Netflix. Are we excited about that, boys?
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. It looks like an interesting plot for it. So actually it's gonna drop the day after this episode releases on Friday this week.
Oh, that's right. This ain't the rundown, so
We record on Mondays, so we'll give Tyler a pass on that one.
Hey, I was halfway right, bro. If we were talking about the rundown, then I would have been right. So
Fair enough. But yeah, I don't have Netflix and I don't watch Black Clover. You guys will probably tell me about it, but
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a non-canon movie too, right?
Yeah, I think it's non-canon. So if there's a lot of boxing bass, we'll let you know.
All right. Yeah, y'all give me the pre-review. I appreciate that.
It's just gonna be coming here going boxing.
They were throwing hands, bro.
We also got some exciting news. So I've never read this manga, but it's called Blackjack. It's coming up on its 50th anniversary, so they're going to release a new manga co-produced by the mangaka and the production company Tetsuo Productions. Tezuka, not Tetsuo, sorry. My Home Hero on the Mind. And ChatGPT. So we're going to get our first taste of AI manga, and I'm interested to see how that goes.
That's really interesting. I'm really a little, maybe not confused, but like interested to see how that works out. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, if they like do enough like massaging of ChatGPT, I'm pretty sure they can like teach it like the storytelling aspects that they've used in the past. So it'll be pretty crazy to see.
It will be.
You guys want to get right into it?
Let's knock it out.
Let's do it. So today we are doing some not so good anime reviews, and that might be not enough of an exaggeration at how bad some of these shows we watched were. We took a look at 3 shows, 3 of the worst rated shows on Mal and AnimeList and all the other anime like rating conglomeration websites, and we're gonna talk about them. We're going to talk about our opinions, go over some of the plot points so you don't have to watch them. And they're bad. They're real bad.
Yeah, they are.
Just to mention, these are randomly picked by website generator. So we had issues actually getting 3 sub 4 rating animes.
Yeah, there were only like 4 of them, and we tried to do sub 3 at first, and there was only 1. And I'll get to talk about that one. So if you guys know from that, you might know what I'm going to get into. But Bass, want to get us started?
Yeah, man. My assignment was Gibiate, excuse me. It is a so far 1 season 12 episode show. It was released in July 2020 and produced by Lunchbox and Studio Ellie. It is set in 2030 Tokyo, and the whole situation is that a virus is turning humans into Gibiate, or like animal monsters. They're like can be anything, but most of them are like scorpion geckos. You have some like big one, like the boss fights is like a bat-headed gorilla with like spikes.
So you basically just watched a bunch of Smile pirates from the Beast Animal Kingdom pirates fight these guys?
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. It was terrible storytelling, but I thought it was funny. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be honest. I give it like a 4 or a high 3, which is right about what it's rating, but I was just expecting it to be so much worse. Because we did look at all the trailers for each one of ours, and my trailer was worse than what the anime actually was. So we have to start our two of our 3 like main characters are getting exiled from Edo, Japan, and they randomly get like blipped to 2030, and this is where the storytelling gets really bad, and it seems very, very rushed. So they meet another character. It's a girl who's going through this whole experience the last 2 years with this epidemic in Japan, and they very quickly like deduce that they're from the Edo period, and they kind of just accept it without questioning it at all because it's supposed to be like normal Japan with a crazy epidemic. They're like, oh, so much crazy stuff is going on. We'll just accept that you're from the Edo period. And then the samurai and the ninja that got put into the future, they also like are very easily accepting of it. You can tell it's very, very rushed. They don't explain the plot. They don't explain why they're there, what happened, or how it happened.
So you had to watch an isekai.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but it was just so silly. It was just so silly. And I think the reason that this had such a low rating is why would you release an anime about an epidemic during like the worst pandemic of like the last 100 years? You know, everybody's already scared. It was July, so we were still trying to figure out what COVID was and like try to figure out how to navigate it. And then you're gonna drop something like this on everybody's head. You know, you probably wouldn't have rated it that high back then. You were like, I don't want like this is what's going on outside. I don't want to hear about this right now. Poor timing.
Thankfully, with COVID-19, we weren't getting turned into, I believe you said scorpion geckos, because that would have been a lot scarier.
Scorpion body, gecko heads. It's such it. So the storytelling was really, really bad. It seemed very rushed. Nobody asked questions about anything. They just kind of accept everything at face value and they keep moving. The monsters most of them can't be like killed with guns, but one of the MCs can take them down with tasers. literally like a police taser. Like, you know, the ones that they shoot with like the two probes. She like wraps them around the monsters and like takes them down for like 10 minutes. And it's just horrible. The worst part of this was the CGI. The storytelling was really, really bad. The characters were flat and very unappealing. I got through 3.5 episodes and I just had to stop. Each episode was about 25 minutes and I was like, I'm not wasting any more of my time with this. I've seen enough to tell you guys that it's fucking bad.
I think this sounds
bland.
better than Campfire Cooking in Another World, though.
Oof. How was the animation?
Animation was very pretty in that.
Yeah.
Well, there you
It
go.
wasn't CGI.
The
Okay.
story seems more interesting, though.
Yeah, it was. It sounds like a really interesting concept. I would not recommend you watch this because the story's flat. They don't do a good job of making things impactful. Like the ninja ends up like wrapping the gorilla bat thing up by its neck and choking it out on a tree. The screwdriver stuck into it. And they try to make it look badass, but they just do a terrible job at it. They like do like a little cutscene. He's like, "Take that," and I'm like, "What?" Like, bro, like all you do is you hung him. Like, relax, my guy. It's just everything's just so flat. It's a good concept, but whoever wrote the dialogue for this, not great. I think it was not based off of an actual manga, so they were just kind of creating the script on the fly, and the writers did not do a good job. The CGI, like I said, is terrible, but the models are like really stiff, and it kind of seems like a kid playing with like action figures, a little bit. Like they all move really stiffly. It's bad. It's bad. One of the things I thought was funny. It was supposed to be like another really impactful moment. There's like the mentor for one of the MCs, the girl that was from 2030. There's an old guy, and you can tell like right off the get go, he's gonna die. So the monsters mostly come out at night, and like they pick up the samurai and the ninja, let them get in the truck. They don't question anything about the truck. They're like, "Whoa, this is faster than a horse," and that's it. That's all they say about it. And like you would think somebody from hundreds of years ago, one would be afraid to be going 60 miles an hour. They've never experienced any speed like that, and they hopped in this thing that they don't know nothing about. But yeah, it's starting to get dark, and he's like, "You know what? I'll just go grab my sword since you're a samurai. You need a sword, right? I got one at my house. Convenient." but then he's out at night when the monsters come out. It's like, why would you risk your life to get a sword when you could have just waited to the next day? And he ends up dying, not from that, from something else. But then like all the characters are like crying because he's such a good guy and bullshit like that. There's only like 50 people left in Tokyo at this point. And like I'm just sitting there like 5 minutes in, I knew he was dead. He was just doing dumb shit. And it was like more funny than it was sad. And like, they had like all like the sad music playing in the background. Everybody's got tears rolling down their face. And I'm just sitting there chuckling at how laughable this whole character in this situation was.
So, do you think Tyler would have cried during this scene?
Probably.
No, chill.
So I have a big question. So we watched the trailer for this last week, and it looked like when people were talking, their lips and teeth weren't moving. Was that actually how the show was, or did like they have like dialogue where like
there was actually their mouths were moving? That was
okay.
very scary. I was afraid of that.
Okay,
they
good.
weren't moving very well. It was a very low frame count that you could tell this was a low budget anime. It just reeked of rushed stupidity. And I feel bad for the people that worked on this and then produced this, and then the world took it the wrong way because they did release it in July of 2020. Like, come on. It's like, maybe let's wait until this calms down a little bit. I think if they release this now, it'd probably do a little bit better. But people watching this when it first came out, I mean, one of the reviews on Crunchyroll, if you go to, it's the first review. It says, this is a top 13,000 anime for me, which is ridiculous. You never want to hear about that when you've worked on something for like a year. It took them a year to make 12 episodes, and this was it. They were talking about coming out with a second season, but I don't think that's likely. It was better than Alice Gear Aegis for sure.
At least like that was animated well, though. It's just an awful cash grab.
Yes, a very blatant cash grab. This one, just the writing, it was so unimpactful. Everything felt flat. It sounds like a good concept, but when you watch this, please don't. There's just nothing to hold on to. It's absolutely nothing for you to like keep wanting to watch it. The characters are flat. The plot's flat. They have a good concept, but they just don't know how to write it. That's all I got, man. That was bad.
So you said you're giving like a high 3 or a 4?
A high 3, yeah. Just because the story concept was good. The character concepts were good, but they just did a terrible fucking job of explaining everything.
Okay.
Do you remember what the Mal and Crunchy rating was off the top of your head?
I think it was a mid 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say usually we're like a number or two below where Mal has it, because a lot of people will like, if they watch the show, they liked it all the way through, and then they'll rate it. And a lot of people who like just pick it up and watch 1 or 2 episodes won't rate it. So
yeah, it could definitely. I could see this getting a lot worse, especially if they don't explain the things that happen in the first 3 episodes. It would go down significantly. But I try to be a little bit easier on things when I only get to watch 3 or 4 episodes.
It's just wild that with all 3 of our shows that we were doing, there's still people putting 9s and 10s for this shit. Like, how do you get that?
I don't know, man.
Poor taste.
Like, I don't get it, but they must be delusional. I don't know.
Yeah, I think some people just aren't being very critical of what they're watching, or maybe they're watching it in the background. It's like, oh, that sounded phenomenal. I don't know.
Tyler, you want to get us into your show?
Yeah. So, I wrote a show called Wonder Momo, and this is a show from 2014. It is 5 episodes long, and the episodes are 7 minutes long. So it's like equivalent of 1 episode basically.
Good for you, brother.
But it feels so much longer. So the studio doing it was called Studio Graphinica, which has done like Hellsing, Gridman, actually, some idol anime. So I was kind of surprised at that. The source of this show is a game, and it's actually a side-scrolling beat-em-up arcade game from 1987. So kind of like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter type of shit you see in an arcade. That's what this anime is based off of. So It got 3.47 on Mal, and I think it was 2.5 ish on Crunchyroll. So a big difference. So basically, to get into this, Wonder Momo, to sum it up, it's about an airheaded high school girl who like inspires to be a top idol, and she gains the ability to turn into a superhero who has to help fight off alien invaders. So
Okay.
to sum this up even more, we have a budget Wonder Woman fighting. I don't even know what to call them. They don't even look like aliens, bro. It looks like detectives. It's like there's some that's like in like detective suits, and then there's some that's like I don't like they're in like black skin tight suits, and they have red mask on. That's the cronies in this.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Did you do any research on Wonder Momo before you watched it, or no?
No, I did all the research that I just said after I watched it.
So Wonder Momo is actually an arcade beat 'em up from Namco back in 1987. So this is another cash grab based on a video game.
Yeah. And I was expecting, I did look it up, like the game that it was based on, because I was kind of curious since we did Alice Gear's Aegis.
Mhm.
And I was like, no way they made a side scrolling beat 'em up from 87, an arcade game, into an anime, and they thought it was going to be good. But here we are.
Got to get that money.
So I'm going to describe basically how all the episodes went, all 5 of them. So basically, you have 7 minutes. You have the first minute is the intro. Then you have the next 5 minutes, which is the plot. And this is how the plot goes every time. They do like let's see, 2 to 2.5 minutes of Momo, which is the protagonist, main character, being an absolutely like crazy airhead. Like she's just dumb, bro. And then they follow that up with 2.5 minutes of Momo, and we see others join up eventually, fighting the minions, and then finishing up with a boss fight with that literally gets one shot usually. And then we end it with 1 minute of outro. That's every episode, bro. Every episode follows that same pattern. So I'm not even
being very
joking.
creative.
Dude, you had basically like the old school like Pokemon episode where it's the exact same plot every episode.
Yeah. So like we find out how she gets to be superpower, finds out how she gains the ability to be Wonder Momo. Basically a detective, like a green alien that looks like a detective, got the hat, got the collar flared up, and just looks shady as hell. Just meets her in like some kind of subway thing, tunnel, and puts a spirit ball and floats it towards her, and it goes into her chest and walks away. And she's just like, oh, what was that? That was kind of weird. And just continues about her day.
Well, that
And-
was weird.
And then she gets back to the school because her teacher was wanting her, but this was after she ran off to her idol interview, which was canceled because for some odd reason. So she goes back to the school, and aliens start attacking, and then all of a sudden she just like, oh, I can be a superhero, and she just starts transforming. It's the same transformation phase every single time. It's like it's basically like I don't know, like
It's like watching Sailor Moon where they use the exact same scene when they
It's basically like
transform
a
every episode.
budget
copy and
Sailor
paste
Moon
shit.
transformation, basically, and it doesn't really explain how she transformed, why she transformed, or anything like that. And then she just starts fighting these aliens, and and then the boss comes out. Like I said, there's always a boss at the end, and comes out, and her fighting attacks. She's just basically punching at this moment. It wasn't doing no effects on the boss, so a hula hoop just so happens to appear, and she picks it up, and it turns
Not a hula
into
hoop.
a magical hula hoop, and she like one shots the boss with it, and then it just cuts the credits,
A hula
for the
hoop?
last minute.
A hula
Yeah,
hoop.
hula hoop. So,
Dude, this sounds electric.
Oh boy.
so basically, it's the same shit going on until we actually meet. I think the episode 2 or 3, they go to an idol fair, and she meets the top idol. And the top idol, the aliens attack the idol fair, and it turns out the top idol is actually a Wonder Woman, but she's known as like Amazona, I think it is.
So she's literally Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's like Amazona.
Budget.
That's
Walmart,
her name.
Great value, Wonder Woman.
And so they team up and fight each other, and they're rivals, by the way. Amazona hates Momo, whatever. And then
She's mad because she's the only bad bitch, and now there's another one up and coming. So she's got to watch out for her top spot, you know?
Oh, okay.
And so, like I said, the same layout happens. A bunch of minions come. They work together to beat the one-shot the boss, basically, blah, blah, blah. And the next episode comes, and we meet Momo's mom, who is actually the original Wonder Momo. And, we like I said, the Amazona and, the young Wonder Momo have bad blood because Amazona hates her. But she's a real big fan of the original Wonder Momo. And that's the reason why she hated her, because she thought that she was fake, And so her mom, the original Wonder Momo, said, "Oh, hey, we got a war coming," because the alien detectives that introduced Momo, the young Momo, to the powers, said that the war is coming back and the aliens are going to attack on a full scale, blah, blah. And so now they're coming back to ask if they will fight for them again, like the original Wonder Momo did in the beginning. And so she's like, "Oh, well, we three can make a team, and we're going to call it Team Momo." So
I'm thinking
okay.
I might have the worst show, but I might have like the best one to watch.
And so now we're on to the finale, bro. So this is where all the things come together. This is supposedly gonna be the big war. The aliens are invading on a full scale. You got Team Momo over here. They're the only ones that can stop the aliens from invading.
Team Momo.
And basically, they just fight the hordes, like I said, for the last 2.5 minutes. They still make it where the first 2 minutes or so is like just bullshit hour, and then the last 2.5 minutes it's the fighting. And so they fight the horde, and then all of a sudden they decide to take a teleport to the enemy base, the ship or whatever, wherever the masters are gathering from in order to go to Tokyo. They're going there, all three of them. And they do a speech and all that good stuff. And then they teleport there, and then they do another speech type deal. And then they rush into battle, and then it cuts the credits. We don't even get to see it.
No end? No resolution?
See what happens.
Oh no.
Come on.
You watched all that for nothing.
It just rushes. It just shows them rushing into battle, and nothing actually happens. It just cuts the credits, and that's it. So, yeah, I felt like this was very predictable. Like I said, I broke it down, and the predictability. It had literally zero story. But I mean, with 5 minutes of plot, what can you expect, bro? 5 minutes plot, 5 minutes, 5 episodes. don't really have a lot of time to introduce the story. Uh, I felt like they could have made it better maybe if they made it into like a over the top fighting anime and showed like a lot of fighting
Mhm.
and made it like humorous, kind of like Mashal does, and make it more like a gag comedy superhero anime. I think if they did those things, it would make it better. Uh, and also my biggest issue with this was, the finale where they, you spent all this build up getting to this final fight, and then right before they actually get into the final end, you just say, okay, we're done.
This
It's
sounds like
wild.
they were like trying to remind people that they have a game.
No, this sounds like it was like a 5-minute commercial that they would put on TV like between animes, like at like Saturday night or something,
Yeah, I mean it was pretty wild. Uh the animation was decent though. I'll give it that. We was kind of worried about I think Bass, we watched the trailers and Bass was saying that it kind of looked flickery and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And it wasn't like that at all. The animation was actually pretty decent. The OP and outro music was pretty decent too. I mean, it's what I expect from an idol type anime, I guess you could call it. Even though it wasn't pure idol, it had idol in it. So,
Yeah. I mean, the
uh,
trailer for this looked like it was animated at like 12 FPS. Like
yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
Um,
almost gave me a seizure.
And one of the, like another big thing I disliked about it, like I mentioned before, the transformation scenes was reused, and what little fighting they did do, the fighting scenes, they was really heavily reused too. So she would like punch these minions, like do like a bunch of punches as a horde was rushing in, and you would just see her punching away, and the minions in the black suit and the red mask would just like comically pile up on top of each other, like a body pile. You would see the same shit over and over in each episode, so it wasn't really even like a different fighting style. It was the same. It was the same punches. What little we did see, so I mean,
Jesus.
uh,
Got to
so it's
reuse those
basically
assets.
it was yeah, I mean it was basically her being an airhead and the show going like how close can we get to Wonder Woman and Sailor Moon on $5? So so with that being
Woo!
said, I'm gonna give it like a probably 2.5 or 3 just because it was comical just watching it and the animation wasn't that bad. So
All right.
Oh, we
So,
did this so you guys wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
so I'm going to get us into the 2014 masterpiece animated by Studio Dean,
Nice.
known as Pupa. Pupa has like a 2 rating. It's a series of 12 4-minute long episodes with like a 30-second intro and like a 30-second outro. So it's like 3 minutes of anime per episode. It took me an hour and a half to watch because the combination of hentai game ads and me having to step away from my computer because I was just shook. I was like messaging the boys in Discord like, guys, I'm scarred. This is awful. I'm terrified.
I want to add and make sure everybody knows this is actually the lowest rated anime on Mal. This is the bottom of the barrel. Dan had a bad roll. I feel for my man.
It was a great roll. It
Oh,
was a
okay.
great roll.
Hey, whatever
So
you like, man.
It picked the right dude.
I'm going to go through the plot just because I want people to understand how fucked up this is. Because if I just start talking about it, it's gonna be like, oh, that doesn't sound that bad. But you need to understand the pacing of this show. So it starts off at a high school, and there's a brother and a sister. Utsusu is the brother, and Yume is the sister. So basically, they're walking home from school, and Yume meets a mysterious woman who we come to find out his name is Maria. And all this lady says is, hey, get home before you see the red butterflies. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Okay.
But she sees this little stray dog walk up to her. She's like, oh no, are you hurt? And then this giant parasitic monster just comes out of the dog and attacks her, infecting her. and her brother finds her lying in the middle of like a park. He's like, "Oh my god, what happened to you?" And she just all of a sudden morphs into this monster and just eats him.
Eats her
This is
brother?
the first
Oh,
episode.
this is 45 seconds into it.
Holy shit.
She also eats 2 other people, and basically after that she turns back into a human. And Maria walks up to her like, "Hey, you're coming with me." And she just sees her brother being put in a body bag and has like an existential crisis. That is the first episode. That is it.
Yeah, we're talking. Remind y'all, 3 minutes.
Yeah, but
At
it's
least
like
they didn't waste any time.
that 3 minutes slaps you across the face.
You're like, oh shit, bro.
So we go to the next episode, which is a flashback episode, and basically Yume and her brother have very abusive parents. Her dad's just beating the shit out of her mom, beating the shit out of the kids. And instead of animating this with people, they use teddy bears.
Excuse me?
So you see a mom and a dad teddy bear and 2 kid teddy bears.
Oh my
And
god.
you just like see like literally like a teddy bear arm swinging, and then just like fluff and tears and everything all over these teddy bears.
Oh, fuck.
No.
We then go
What
back.
the-
So that's episode 2. So we learn a little bit about their upbringing. We go into episode, I think it was
That's good. You know, that's more backstory than what we got combined.
yeah, but it was teddy bears. Like this shit was so traumatic they used teddy bears to show it.
Sounds like they need some hula hoops, bro.
So I think it was, I don't remember if this was the 3rd or 4th episode. I'll go through both of them. But basically, after that, the dead brother and the girl are taken back to this mysterious woman Maria's lab to be studied. And all of a sudden, the brother is just alive again. And it turns out that he got infected by the parasite as well. He doesn't have the monster tendencies, but he's got crazy regenerative powers.
Okay.
So, like, the man was eaten down to like his torso when he comes back to life. Maria
Wow.
says, "Hey, your sister has an insatiable hunger for human flesh, and you have regenerative powers.
Oh,
so the only
hell
way
no,
she's
no.
gonna survive is if you let her eat you to feed her."
Okay.
That's so fucked.
That's like the 3rd or 4th episode. The other one is we get a flashback from Yume about her childhood and his family, and basically his mother thinks that Ume is a demon spawn from the start. Like the little girl is born with teeth.
Ew.
Disgusting.
Yeah. That's a little
And
gross.
she like when she's in the womb, she's like, "Oh no, I got to abort you." Literally, like I got to go get an abortion.
Holy fuck.
And then from what she says, she starts feeling incredible pain, like the baby saying, "No, you can't abort me."
Okay.
After she has the kid, she just decides for the safety of her son, she's going to kill the baby. And she takes out a box cutter and just goes at this kid. But the kid's fine. So I'm like, was she always a fucking demon? Was she only infected at a later date? Like, what the fuck is going on here? We get
Did-
to
Do
go
they
for it.
explain it?
No, not at all.
Oh, of course they don't. Nope.
Nope, not at all.
Gotcha.
So we get to the next episode, or I don't know. I think I have my notes. I have episode 6, but I was just kind of in a blur writing this because I was so scared. It is a 3-minute scene of Yume eating ususu, just moaning Oni-chan, and you have the most vile, disgusting, like grotesque noises of her eating human flesh.
Oni-chan.
This
Just
is
going,
what we
"Oni-chan."
heard in the trailer.
Yeah,
That shit was creepy. Y'all should go check out this trailer. That trailer had me fucked up.
Oni-chan.
so it gets weirder.
Liar.
It gets
Okay.
oh no, it gets weirder. So
Can we just
Then-
stop now?
the next episode is Maria, this doctor, in like some weird cave hot spring that's somehow attached to the lab she works in, which makes no sense.
Okay.
But she's butt ass naked, talking about how she wanted to be impregnated with the seed of these 2 kids who are siblings. So we're getting a demon incest baby, folks, and that just set me off. I was like, "What the fuck am I watching right
My
now?"
skin's crawling.
her associate Makoto, who turns out to be her brother, after I did a little like Google search and was like, "Oh, I'm just here to fondle your breasts." I'm like, "What the fuck am I watching? Like, what is this? Get me out of here!" And then casually states at the very end, like, "Oh, by the way, the parasitic organization of Japan is after the siblings because they want to study them." Guess what happens next episode? They get kidnapped by this organization. They've got
Wow.
Yume chained to a chair, blindfolded, and you can just hear in the background her brother screaming as doctors are dissecting him. But since he has super regenerative powers, his organs are growing back before they even hit the table. So Yume
shit.
listens to this for like a minute and then just goes on a parasitic powers to come out. She goes on a rampage and kills like 40 people. Armed men with MP5s, like just takes them all down. And then the brother and sister meet up like nothing happened. Like,
Oh boy.
like, oh yeah, I'm so glad to be back with you. Let's leave and go to school. The next episode is like him, like them sitting under the bleachers while she eats him. Like, it's just so fucked up.
So how many times does it show? Does it make it a day, an episodic feature of him or her eating him?
Twice.
Okay.
At least only twice. That's good.
At least only twice. But so like you get to the last episode and it's a flashback of basically her abusive father stepped on her bear as a kid and the bear needed to be replaced because it was damaged. So they walk to a toy store and they realize Utsusu realizes he doesn't have enough money to buy a new bear, but there's conveniently a raffle going on. And all of his friends come up and give him the raffle tickets. Like, it's a really cute little scene like that. And he doesn't win shit. He wins a little hairpiece that you see her wearing throughout the show up until this point. And then that's the end.
But what about the incest baby?
What about a lot of things?
I'm sure that you're not disappointed in that, Dan.
Oh no, I was all in at that point. I was ready. I was ready for a demon incest baby.
Oh boy.
So like the portrayal of children being abused as teddy bears just set me off. I was like, what the who thought of this? This was
That's
fucking
fair.
nuts.
That's fair.
The flashback scene with the mom, so fucked up. Like, I'm not even sure if it actually happened. It could just be like some weird ass thing that Yumi thinks happened. Like, I don't know. Like, they don't explain it at all. Again, the sound of Yume eating her brother and eating flesh was just so disturbing. The demon incest baby was the best part of the plot. I'm so sad I didn't get to see this grotesque monster be born.
I wonder how they made that sound happen.
Oh, dude, it had to be like an animal eating like a live carcass. Like,
You
I
think
don't
so?
even.
They probably could have just mashed up some fruit.
It didn't sound like eating fruit though, unless you're really smacking your lips. I don't know. Like, it was gnarly. But yeah, the ending had me so mad because I was like, I just watched 12 episodes for this. I at that point I was invested and I wanted to get into it. I might dead ass read the manga because I've heard the manga's actually really good.
Oh, okay.
And this adaptation is just god awful.
Gotcha.
I don't know, man. I don't see how a sister eating her brother and
There's no noise.
brother
I'm not gonna hear it.
fondling her sister's titties is
It's pretty bad.
good.
That's pretty bad.
So, the thing is like it laid out a really complex and terrifying. I mean, it's like a horror movie, so it like laid out like a really complex and scary plot, and then just ended with a fucking hair clip.
Oh boy.
But 0 out of 10 must watch.
I'm definitely not watching it, bro.
Yours seems the most interesting. Mine was just very confusing and rushed.
Dude, it was just so bizarre. Like, it was nuts.
Well, guys, we did it. We did it for you. Do not watch these shows. Dan said read the manga if you're gonna get interested in this thing. But
hey,
yeah,
man, if you want to watch it, be my guest and let me know what you like.
Okay.
It's only how many was that? 26 minutes or something like that, right?
It was 28 minutes. You've got to watch a lot of hentai ads every time you get a pop-up 16 times trying to go to the next episode because it's not on any major streaming platforms. So you got to go to like 9 Anime or I don't even know them anymore, like Zoro, Toe, or like Kiss Anime or whatever they are now. And yeah, it was a treat. I made the mistake of watching this at like 11 o'clock at night, and I literally had to like go watch like Family Guy to like get my mind off of
the Pupa.
the Pupa, dude.
Yeah, I waited till the daytime to watch
Wait,
mine. But hey,
what's-
for you guys, at least y'all's was like 20, 30 minutes. Each one of my episodes was like 25 minutes.
I feel like I had more happen in 28 minutes than you had in 3 episodes. So
Yeah, not much happened in mine, and it was just very, very stupid. But-
So what does pupa mean though? What did it mean?
a pupa is a form of like a bug basically evolving. So you start like a caterpillar, then it goes to a pupa, then or pupa caterpillar.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that fit in with the
It's,
anime
though? It's between the larva and the adult stage.
Okay, so like before it goes into a metapod.
But where does that fit in with the anime?
I'm assuming the parasites get even scarier in the manga.
Skin's
Okay.
literally crawling. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, her
Imagine
full
there's
on demon
slugs.
form was scary looking. Like it looked like a freaking monster out of like your worst nightmare.
Ay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
I
fun.
was dead ass shook. I was like messaging these guys at like midnight, like I can't sleep. I'm terrified. Like, what the fuck did I just watch?
I woke up to that, and I got a good chuckle out of your pain. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine.
Terrified of teddy bears now.
I'll never look at a kid's teddy bear the same, dude. I'm just gonna be like, oh, that teddy bear's about to get his ass kicked by his dad.
Yo. Okay, guys.
Well, GG's. Should we move on to more non horrible topic?
Yeah. I would like to move past this in my life.
Never.
So we're gonna move. Oni-chan.
Oh, dude.
So we're gonna go to our second topic of the bullshit episode. It's called "Who's Your Home Hero?" I almost said "Who's Your Daddy," but thank God I didn't.
I would have.
I would have had to pick a very different character for Who's Your Daddy.
So, but to sum it up, today we're figuring out who we'd want to be our Kaisen if we were Tetsuo. So we're picking our sidekick that's going to help us outsmart Kyochi and the Yakuza. Kind of like if you're following along with our weekly rundown, My Home Hero. This is basically us being Tetsuo, and we're just trying to find somebody to be our sidekick. That's basically it. But we're gonna lay down some rules real quick. There's gonna be no special abilities or powers coming in with the characters that we choose, because we're going to the My Home Hero world where everybody is normal. It's like the world we're living in right now. Just your normal day, Japan, Tokyo, all that good stuff. No lawyers or Death Note characters.
No low hanging fruit. No low hanging fruit, Dan. No.
Yeah. No easy cop outs. So, also no beat 'em up characters like Goku, One Punch Man, any of that type of deal. Because like we said with the lawyers, we wanna kind of give an interesting take. So we don't want somebody just just shitting on the Yakuza just because they can. So, but yeah, I think I'm going first, right?
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
Well, the boys challenged me to not pick Naruto from Naruto.
Oh, you mean Minato, because that's your boy.
and
Specifically Minato.
I really wanted to pick Minato again, just because he could bring in my little the Hokage jacket again, bro, and I could get another one.
He just wants to see the drip.
Yeah. And it's their boy Minato. He's smart, but I didn't pick him. I thought about picking Reagan, but then again, they was like, you always pick Reagan or Minato. So I was like, you're right. Let me pick somebody else.
Yeah, we had to get him out of his comfort zone on this one. It took some convincing, but he went along with it.
So I Go ahead.
I was gonna say if it was Who's Your Daddy, Who's Your Home Hero, he would have still picked Minato or Reagan. So
Yeah.
So I stayed away from Minato or Reagan. I picked my man from Cowboy Bebop, Spike Spiegel, the badass, the one and only. And one of the reasons why I picked him is because Kyochi and the Yakuza, they're pretty smart, especially Kyochi, and Tetsuo is smart too. He's been able to outsmart, try to outsmart Kyochi and them at every turn. It seems like so, but Spike, he's also very smart, and he's also a very intuitive person. Like he possesses the ability to like quickly assess situations in real time and create plans that work and actually succeed most of the time. Um, and I feel like that would come in very handy in this situation, especially planting evidence and stuff like that. If something doesn't go wrong, something goes wrong, he can adjust and make it happen. Still, he's very resourceful when it comes to getting the job done. I feel like. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like you said, I think his biggest asset in being your sidekick in My Home Hero is his ability to judge a situation and judge character really, really quickly. He can pretty much look at somebody and kind of figure them out in seconds.
Yeah.
does he
And
get a gun? Because like guns are okay, right?
yeah, I
Guns are
mean,
okay, yeah.
they have
Spike's
them,
got a mean shot, so
and that's another point. If worse comes to worse, my man, he's a one man showstopper up in here. If he takes out the Glock, somebody gonna get shot. You know what I mean?
I believe his middle initial was B for Blicky.
Yeah. So I'm taking Spike over all the Yakuza any day. But I don't think it would come to that. Because with Tetsuo's crime detective thinking and Spike's ability to make shit happen no matter what,
hmm
I think that they could outsmart them. But as we've seen in My Home Hero, that may not matter because Kyochi still comes back on Tetsuo, and maybe that's when uh my man pulls out the Glock. You know what I mean? And but one of the things that I really like about Spike though is throughout every situation that I've ever seen him in, he's always cool, calm, and collected. The man don't get razzled for nothing. So, uh, the only thing I see hurting this scenario is like he's got some pretty bad luck with money issues. Uh, he can never seem to make money or get money. He's always broke, bro.
Fucking
Uh,
broke boy.
yeah,
To say, hey Spike, can you go pick up an ALS light for me? Nah, man, I
yeah,
ain't got no money.
yeah. You'd have to find some way. You'd have, and it's not like you can give him money because then I don't think he's a very responsible spender either. Um, so besides that, like he's very laid back and lazy outside of missions too. So but I feel like that wouldn't really come into play if he was your friend or buddy or whatever, and he was helping you deal with this shit. I feel like that wouldn't really come into play as much. So, but yeah, I mean that's who I would pick outside of Naruto or Reagan. It's Spike Spiegel, bro. He's a badass. He's a
Spike Blicky Spiegel.
yeah. I mean, I think
I
that's a pretty good pick.
I think it is. Mine's gonna be a stretch. I'll go last here, but yeah, mine's gonna be a stretch, but it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be really fun. I think you picked a good character. A
I was proud of
balanced
myself.
a
So
balanced character too. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he can get it done, intellectually, or if worse comes to worse, especially like that shootout we saw on the road, where they kind of got set up and guns was blazing. Man, Spike would have thrown like he'd had that shit all upside down. Like they'd been begging. There wouldn't be no video Tetsuo made saying he killed somebody, blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't have happened because Spike would have took them all out.
Either that, or there would have been some really funny scene with Spike driving the car, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? And he's just dodging everything left and right, being Spike.
Yeah. So I love Spike, bro. He's just a vibe.
He really is.
So
definitely. So I picked a character who has some similar traits to what Tyler said, but a very different kind of person. So I picked Lelouch Lamperouge from Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion. Basically, this is a kid with very lofty goals. He's a high schooler. He's like, I'm going to rule the world one day.
Okay.
He's highly intelligent. He's extremely cunning, just like Spike. He's cool, calm, and collected all the time. He's always up for a challenge. Like, he's the kind of kid, like, I think it's like the third or fourth episode of the show. Basically, he goes and challenges like some noble chess master to chess and just smokes him. He thinks of life as a chessboard to him. One thing I think that'd be really useful that Lelouch has is that he doesn't have an issue using people to reach his goal. So if his goal is to help me get out of this, he's got no problem sacrificing Koichi to save my family. Which I feel like a lot of people would have a hard time like dealing with that,
I mean, Tetsuo, he was gonna do the same shit. So I mean, they'd be on the same page. You know what I mean?
I'd have a really hard time doing that.
Right.
But yeah, he's really deceptive and he's fantastic with costumes. You guys haven't watched this show yet, but definitely recommend it. I think if we do another Showdown Throwdown, this might be the one I pick.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, basically the kid goes from being a school to overthrowing an entire like world government organization.
That's a good person to have on your side for this kind of thing.
Yeah, he's a fucking genius too. I mean, if you Google like top 10 smartest anime characters, he's always like top 5.
Okay.
That's what you need.
You can just take over the Yakuza.
I could rule all of Japan, dude. No problem. I would just be the buddy hanging out drinking beers with like a harem of ladies next to me while he does all the hard work.
I think this is the first time I've actually not tried to take over the world in one of these situations, and Dan has taken my spot. So
hey, man, somebody's got to have loftier goals to save their family, right? There are a couple things here, though. So he is kind of arrogant, so that could get me into a little trouble. He's also extremely narcissistic. Like, he thinks he's the shit, and like I said, he uses people all the time. Like, he is chessboard, everybody else's pawns,
Mm-hmm.
So that might get me in trouble. He might throw me under the bus. I don't know.
If you get in a situation where you're expendable, you're probably gone, is what it sounds like.
He's really good about protecting his friends. So, I mean, hopefully we're boys at this point.
All right.
Some downsides is, so he has an incredibly broken power. His Geese is basically, he has a power called absolute obedience.
Okay.
He can tell someone to do something, and if he uses his power, they will do it, no questions asked. So this would have been cake if I had his power, let me tell you. Other downside is, since this is real world, there are no giant robots yet. So he can't pilot a giant robot. That just makes me sad, because who doesn't want to see a fucking giant robot?
Fair.
But I think the traits that he has as a character, I can't go too much into it because you guys haven't seen the show yet. I think the traits he has as a character would get me out of this bind pretty damn quick.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, you guys sound like you picked really practical characters. I went a different route for myself. I would give you guys A's on this one if I was grading you. I, however, went with a different route, a very different type of character. I chose Edward Wong from Cowboy Bebop. Now, Ed, she is a 14-year-old girl who is a master hacker. Actually, deceptively smart. She actually beat a chess master in one of her first games of chess. So she's really smart. She's really analytical. And how I would approach this, instead of really getting into it with the Yakuza, I would probably just have her do a cyber attack on their cell phones laptops and their their cyber infrastructure. That way they have a harder time communicating, keeping track of what's going on. And we saw that Tetsuo and Kaizen spend a lot of time trying to break into laptops, faking emails, faking social media posts, breaking into posts. That was like at least half of the episodes right there. Ed
But
gets me past all those hurdles.
but would you trust Ed into going to an apartment and figuring out how to get into it and breaking into a safe?
We ain't even got to do that. It's not even get to that point. If we okay, and if
how
and
would
if
you
I
frame
did
Kyochi though?
The emails,
emails,
the damn emails.
yeah, dude, we're gonna hack all that shit, and we're gonna make him say shit he didn't say. We're not even gonna get to the safe part. Well, I'm cutting this bullshit out like episode 2. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, going off of that, if I had Lelouch on my team, this would have been about a 3-episode show. It would have been done real quick.
That's what I'm saying. Like we just cut it, frame Kyoichi, frame whoever we want to frame, really. And then we just fake some emails, fake some text messages, and some phone calls. I'm sure Ed can come up with a voice changer if we need to get down to the nitty gritty and fake the, like voice messages and things like that. The only, a big problem is her attitude, and her overall personality. She is batshit crazy. Ed is Ed. She doesn't shut up, so I'd have to hide her somewhere. I couldn't keep her at my house. She had to go live with my relatives or somewhere, and we'd have to have a lot of phone calls, and she had to hide those themselves. Best I could do was like present her as like my odd cousin or something like that. But at the same time, with how she is at like face value, they probably wouldn't suspect her of anything or being really smart and helping me in the first place.
So I feel like communication would be an issue with her,
Ed
as
likes to
far as
sleep.
telling her what to do and how to do it. I feel like she doesn't really listen that well. She just does what she wants. So
I would have to make it into a game.
you thought ahead, okay?
Yeah, you would have to make it into like a game, and frame these. They are really bad people, and frame them as bad people. And I don't need her to focus for too long. She's pretty quick when she gets down to business. But I need like maybe an hour or 2 out of her just let her run rampant through their electronical equipment. And I can get them all jumbled up. I would probably never even be implicated. I'd say, hey, this guy right here, we're bad person, Ed. Bad person. Get them.
So I guess my only concern with having Ed is that could you deal with Ed talking in the third person the entire time?
For my life, yes.
Ed's not sure if Ed thinks you could.
Ed has doubts.
Yeah, I went with a little bit more fun approach to this. I had to think outside of the box. I did start off with trying to go with somebody just like she did a straight manipulative. But then I thought about how much time Tetsuo and Kaizen spent trying to get into laptops and bullshit and how much risk they had to take on to do that. I can clean up the goddamn apartment. Probably wouldn't even have to do that if Ed just gets on her fucking job, which is a big if. It's a 50-50 split. But once I get over that hurdle, it's a wrap, I think. And I did like that she was like from Earth and was familiar with technology from around this time because she, even though she was born, I think in like the 2050s, she still knew what like a VHS and shit like that was and was still able to fix and work on that equipment. So I think this would be fucking light work for her. She's used to dealing with spaceships and like, interplanetary security protocol. I think a cell phone tower is pretty easy for her. That's light work.
Ed thinks Ed agrees with Ed's statement.
See, that would get to me, but like, yeah, we're going to have to get through it.
Yeah.
we got to get through that shit.
I took the original route you were going with the highly manipulative, narcissistic, like, guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I was going to do Askeladd because that motherfucker can talk and he assesses people quickly. Only problem is he's from the fucking Viking age and he doesn't know anything.
Yeah. Hey, can you go get me this computer? What's that?
Yeah, exactly.
He brings you back a toaster oven.
Yes.
Yeah, all jokes aside, I really wanted to pick Reagan, boys. Like Minato, I didn't really want to pick because,
What would Reagan do?
he's a
Reagan's not that
bullshitter,
good.
man.
He's not that good of a
He's
liar.
he's a bullshitter. He's been bullshitting all his life. You see where it's gotten him. He's just a bullshitter.
Reagan
Imagine
would
if you had a bullshitter like that that's capable of doing just as much as Carson is doing. And
I don't know if he's capable of doing that. Reagan would try and like climb down like the roof and would fall off it.
it doesn't matter. You would have the epic scene where he's just like, bro, you know.
I'm just
Yeah.
imagining.
I
So
like that.
if you went like the My Home Hero route with Reagan, you would have him be really excited to film the fake movie of Nobuto. Because he'd be all about being that guy, and he'd walk with such a stupid gait, it wouldn't even work.
He'd be a little too into it.
I don't know, man. I just feel like he could get it done. I mean, he's just a bullshitter. Like, you put him in that situation and just be like, hey, you know, we got to do this, and he's gonna make it work somehow with some kind of bullshit way. So
Yeah. So these guys, I had like 4 characters picked out for this, and they all got taken off the list. Like, I was like, oh, I'll do Detective Conan. They're like, oh, I'm gonna take Al. I'm gonna take Ace Wright, you know, or Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. And like, they're like, nope, no lawyers, no Death Note characters, no this. I'm like, well, what the fuck do I pick then? So I
Yeah,
had to
you
go.
gotta get creative. Yeah.
I had to,
no detectives, nothing like that, bro.
dude. The freaking Detective Conan was such a funny character. He's like a child detective.
And then the Death Note characters, that's just too easy. You know, Light or L. It's like, okay, of course, right? So we didn't want you grabbing the fruit off the bottom of the tree.
Hey man, you know, actually no, Tyler hasn't seen Death Note, so it would have been a similar situation where I couldn't talk too much. Like, I could have went into some of the shit that Lelouch has done, but it would have spoiled the anime for you, and I didn't want to do
Got
that.
you.
So I
Hey,
should have probably
appreciate
picked
that.
something from a show that you guys had seen, but he
Hey,
just came right to mind. I was like, oh, this guy's fucking manipulative.
I'm okay with spoilers. You know, you could have spoiled it for me, so I would have still watched it eventually.
I think you guys are going to be watching it coming up because
All right, let's go.
I think we got another Showdown Throwdown coming up. Probably, honestly, right before summer 2023, because I think we have some lulls in shows ending that we're gonna have to fill with some anime to watch. You know?
Okay.
We are. So yeah, please pick it. I've been meaning to watch it anyway.
Y'all probably gonna like my next Showdown Throwdown.
Oh boy.
Are you doing Oshinoko?
I'll do something that y'all never. Usually, I try to do something that y'all would never watch. So, just to throw it in there, see if y'all would like it or not. You know, I don't really pick shows based on if y'all will like it or not. I just do it based on if y'all would have watched it without me telling you to watch it. So.
Well, there's a long list of shows that you like that we would not watch without you telling us to watch them. So
Facts.
But yeah, that was pretty fun, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Really interesting. I used a little bit different logic, but yeah, I think we all got to the same place. I think we did pretty well overall.
definitely. Well, awesome, guys. We appreciate you joining for this week's Anime Degens podcast. Again, who would you pick to be your home hero? Join our Discord, linktree.com/animedegens. We're getting close. We're getting close to getting a Discord link, a personalized one. So maybe boost up that channel if you know what I'm saying. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday for the rundown.
Later.